James Gunn's DC may have finally done something that goes too far. It turns out the Lantern's streaming show is about to pull the rug out from under the feet of viewers. That's bad enough. But what if we told you there's a source out there that got a hold of the leaks, maybe, reported on rumors they had heard, maybe, and now the DC lawyer machine is going after their First Amendment rights, deplatforming them, crushing them, destroying the small website called Cosmic Book News. And now DC is about to lose badly. Folks and friends, welcome back yet again. It is a great day to have you join us as we endeavor together to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve, and frankly, dismiss the bad tactics of James Gunn, DC, and Warner Brothers this time. It's time for them to get their lawyers back in line. We've got our own lawyer here, Ron Coleman, who has gone all the way up to the Supreme Court and won, is here to talk about the First Amendment and how it is now being pummeled by a particular company, by a particular studio, and all so they can pull He-Man 2.0. Say what? James Gunn, buddy, maybe you need to go. Here's the story of Warner Brothers trying to decimate a poor website out there. They're not impoverished, but they were just trying to do the right thing. They were reporting on scoops the same way that all of us do. And James Gunn's DC is coming at them with the lawyers. Matt McGloin reporting on this out of Cosmic Book News. We're going to throw them support right now by reading it from them. Lantern's takedowns go cross-platform. Warner Brothers Discovery vendor strikes Cosmic Book News, YouTube, Facebook pulls their video. Here's what it says. Update, a second strike from X has landed. This one from Warner Brothers Discovery's actual content protection department, designating the infringing content as text. Update 2, YouTube has forwarded our counter notification to the claimant, Warner Brothers Discovery, via Mark Scan. Under the DMCA, they now have 10 U.S. business days to provide evidence. They filed a lawsuit against us, yada, yada, yada. And update 3, Meta has now restricted Cosmic Book News from their account that manages a 666, that's an unfortunate number, 1,000 follower page for 30 days. What is this all about? What are all these updates about? What is all? Well, here it is. And we're going to say this, I guess, with some danger to us as well, but we got to defend these sorts of things because this is crazy. Cosmic Book News decided to report on the Green Lanterns show coming out on their streaming platform. A silly little superhero show that probably isn't going to have a lot of support behind it. Now, every day, channels such as this and websites such as that Park Place and Cosmic Book News are reporting on rumors and scoops. And almost always those rumors and scoops are generated from other people. And we're careful about how we do that. We always talk about, this is the category of the thing. It seems like Cosmic Book News did that as well. But this one might have hit close to home because the allegation was, and we don't know if this is true or not, so we're allowed to speculate. Ron, can we speculate?
Are you asking for me permission to speculate?
Please, sir, I'd like to speculate.
I grant you permission to speculate.
Why, thank you, Your Honor. All right, here's the report. Friday morning, the Hal Jordan leak hits Reddit. Okay? And the thing is, Marvin, if I've got this right, James Gunn's Lantern show is going to feature Hal Jordan for a single episode. This is the allegation. We don't know. This is not our rumor. This is not our scoop. But the allegation is he's going to appear in one episode and he gets yanked, a la what happened with He-Man from Kevin Smith. Is that right?
Yes, that is the rumor that's going around. And that is the rumor that was reported by Cosmic Book News and a bunch of other places, all of which also got hit.
All right, so they locked their account. Yeah. So we're in danger reporting this. I'll just tell you. I don't know what will happen, but we have to. This is crazy. So they locked their account. Hours later, the vendor pipelines reached YouTube and Facebook, talks about 2 separate tracks, attacking Cosmic Book News, locking them down, deplatforming them, and essentially, these big businesses really damaging a much smaller business that's just doing what we all do every single day, and I think is covered by the First Amendment. And so, Ron, I wanted to bring you on and ask you as a legal expert in this area. Ron, what are the rules here? Are we allowed to talk about things we've heard? Like
yes.
Fiction? Okay, so what's happening here, and do you think that these companies will regret this in any sort of way, or do they essentially get away with it?
It's a great question. It depends on how much of a stomach the affected parties have for the fight. This is not copyright infringement under any conceivable multiverse version, okay? There is no... You can spoil literary, cinematic, dramatic stories all day long. It's not a secret. Ideas are not secrets. Copyrights protects a specific, tangible encapsulation of creative work. The movie itself, the recording itself, the play itself, or the script for the play, or the music, or the sheet music for a song, or recording of a song. But as anyone who knows, who does any YouTube watching knows, you've got people talking about movies all the time. Reviewers spoil stories all the time, and you don't need anyone's permission to do that. It is absolutely outrageous that the platforms are enabling this kind of abuse of the takedown process. And if they get some representation in their in their corner, as they should, this is a problem that must be taken care of. Not only that, what should happen if there's even a little bit of social media pushback, including programs like this, is the problem probably can and should be solved by application of the Streisand effect.
Mm-hmm.
If someone would in fact feed me a screenshot of what is being taken down, I'll share it in a second.
Right. And let them go after you. I like that a lot. Here's what they're doing. It says counter notifications are now being filed on every platform. Retraction requests are with both the social team and Mark Scan. And the restoration clocks all land in roughly the same place, Comic-Con week. In the meantime, Cosmic Book News will not run Warner Brothers Discovery promotional materials while the company files takedowns against their coverage. Official images have been pulled from their Lanterns articles and replaced with their own. The reporting stands on its own just fine. Nobody, it says, runs a 3-platform takedown campaign over a rumor that's wrong.
Let me suggest to you that the reason this is happening is that someone whose job this usually is on a summer vacation.
Oh,
and someone who has this on their list of things that they have to sub in for. I don't want to say an intern. I'd hate to think it were an intern, but someone this is such a ham-fisted bad move that it can't have been done by somebody with regular responsibility for this. And from what you're telling me, the description, what it says in the article that you sent me earlier today, it sounds like they are getting good advice from a lawyer who knows what he or she is doing. And I'm sure it will be resolved very quickly. But I do think that everyone in the creator community and free speech world who has a social media platform should be sharing this stuff. That is the one thing they really can't do anything about.
That's sort of my position on this is it does put us in some danger. I don't know how much danger, but to cover this, if they're going after everybody, but I just say, we cannot be afraid of this kind of thing. You can't let the bullies win. And this is just basic free speech that it might be a pain in the butt to fight, but you got to fight it, because otherwise we got to be sitting here and be terrified of reporting on any little story about, oh, did you hear that the MCU there's the script's not going well, the Russo brothers are having a hard time with RDJ. Like,
no,
we can't say that anymore.
No, that's ridiculous. And I'll do you one better. As you guys know, the running joke with me is I don't really hardly consume any of the stuff we talk about, but except in bits and pieces. I watch what's available on YouTube, and I love watching reviews. And sometimes I share them with you guys. It's something I think that it's relevant to your programs. It is astonishing to me how much self-censorship reviewers have to do now. Unable to show clips because
can't show trailers.
Algorithms make these decisions, and I remember years ago writing about the Dancing Baby lawsuit, which was which was just an example of an algorithm making a call. Music was being played in the background, and an AI or other kind of application sucked it up, flagged it as a copyright violation. Even if they had been playing that music in the background, it probably shouldn't have been a copyright violation anyway. What YouTube in particular, and X is much less guilty of this, and you guys know I live on X much more than YouTube, but what YouTube has done to enable the throttling of not only criticism, but also the development of appreciation for the work of creators, including major studios, who would benefit so much by allowing their works to be excerpted. I mean, one of my favorite channels is a guy, Guitar Meets Science.
I have to look it up. I've never heard of that one.
And he talks about rock acts and pop acts from the 60s and 70s and 80s when I was, and I was a DJ in the 80s. Stuff that, it's not all my cup of tea. A lot of it is like metal, but the guy has a great channel, and he's never, ever able to even sample the smallest example of the songs and bands that he's talking about. Yep. It's so preposterous, and it doesn't have to be that way. But what we're talking about here with what Warner's doing, an absolute step on the rake situation. And like I said, anyone who has that screenshot, share it with me. I've got a little bit of an audience, which I don't have so much on YouTube. I will blast it out with the story, and
yeah, you got a little audience. That's understatement.
You asked the right question, and you knew what the answer would be, and I'm happy to deliver it to you with my arms waving and everything.
Well, before we end the conversation, I do want to ask Caro about this, because Caro, you work in providing entertainment and stories to people, and keeping those stories secret and safe is a huge deal when we're developing all this. And in this case, this is a hugely unpopular thing that they're going to do. And I think we can sort of measure how unpopular it is, again, under James Gunn, by the reaction that we're going to hear. I think Ron's right. It probably is some dumb intern who had no idea what they were doing and has put them in a horrible spot. But Caro, I wonder, do they realize this is so damaging, and this is why they're freaking out as well? Because they could reverse course immediately.
Yeah, but then that's egg on their face, and they have to admit that they're wrong. And a lot of times, companies don't like to do that. My general concern is the ripple effect this behavior is going to have, because we're already seeing this with film, and I'm kind of curious about how it's going to affect publishing itself, with books and whatnot. Because I've seen a couple of litigious things happen within publishing between authors. It's usually two women that decide to go at it with each other, and that's kind of funny from a distance, but I don't want to be in the middle of it, right? And if this becomes the standard process for film and TV, then it is going to become that way for book publishing, and that's going to make everything such a giant minefield. And that's my general concern. I don't feel like this behavior should be normalized, and I think it needs to be stopped, or it's going to escalate. And that's my general thought.
I do have. You're 100. This is what we call chilling effect.
Yeah. Oh.
And chilling effects are bad, and they spread. In fact, you look like you're freezing.
Oh, no, I was just trying to cover up my tattoos and look like a classy person with the shawl that I made.
Classy lass.
Yes.
This really works very well in tandem with the entire phenomenon of access media. By getting social media creators off the air or throttling them, that makes them less influential. Their content isn't as good because they can't talk. We can't talk about, copyright protected material, which again, that's complete bullshit. Of course they can. They can't excerpt it, whereas the access media can. There has been, this is just part of a decade-long process by media corporations to reduce and, if possible, eliminate the impact of independent creation, which is an absolute, dagger pointed at the heart of the entire concept of access media.
Go ahead, Marv. I was actually going to ask you what's our response going to be on that Park Place? Because I don't think we're going to back down from this sort of thing.
No, definitely not. Here's the thing. This is like what Ron said. This is a terrible decision made. And if there's one thing you can always count on Warner Brothers to do, it is to make the exact worst decision possible in any given, instance. What I think what this is also is they are trying to make an example out of McGloin over at Cosmic Book News and other creators, because the rhetoric coming out of DC, like through their official podcasts and stuff like that, is that it was the chuds who sunk Supergirl. It was all the YouTubers and it was all the influencers. That's why Supergirl. It wasn't the script. It wasn't Millie Alcock's rhetoric. It wasn't James. It certainly wasn't James Gunn. It's you guys. And so they're trying. This is my video on this was titled "James Gunn Declared War on YouTubers," and that's what this is. He is trying to scare you away from talking about these things with this illegal and immoral takedown of content. And the way we fight back against it is we don't stand for it.
Jonas, what does this do to the Lantern show when it finally releases?
Well, I see a couple of options. I think the Acolyte, for instance, got big viewership on episode 3 because of a scoop that was posted by Film Threat, who had gotten early access and screening. And so they should be thanking Film Threat for giving Acolyte the boost that it got. And the other is that people who were already doubting that this show was going to be any good will just automatically clear out. I will point out that I've now reached out to Matt McGloin to ask him for the exact item that was posted so that I can share it with my good friend, Ron Coleman over here.
Sharing is good.
Ron, final question to you on this topic. I wanted to ask you about the difference in platforms in terms of the size of these corporations versus the little guys. And I know that you have defended a lot of people from much larger entities. Walk us through, what is it like taking on a corporation like Warner Brothers when you are, and I don't know, maybe Matt McGloin has other people, maybe his website is owned by somebody else that I'm not aware of, but it's not a big operation. What does that look like for people who are trying to defend their right to free speech, essentially?
Well, the good news is that it's not the copyright law needs a serious overhaul, but it does have some helpful tools in it. And one of them is that a wrongful takedown can blow up in your face. Now, it is true that the exposure of a wrongful takedown penalty is meaningless to these conglomerates financially. The real laboring or the real moving part, I'm looking for the right metaphor here, that's why I don't write movies and comic books, is the platform. YouTube, X, these are the guys who really make the decisions with their policies. It's not so much of a legal issue. It's really much more of a policy and enforcement issue. As bad as YouTube is, and they are terrible, again, they have created a distortion of the concept of free use and copyright. I mean, when you consider how much of YouTube is built on blatant copyright infringement, the idea that you can't excerpt, the smallest snatch or screen grab from a movie that you're reviewing is pretty preposterous. YouTube doesn't. They're smart people. Their legal department is smart. They're stubborn as hell. They also have more money than God. You should pardon the expression. They're the guys. That's really going to be where the leverage is. They don't want this to get out of control. So what it looks like is the legal pushback doesn't cost all that much because it doesn't really become drawn out litigation. It's not going to go that way. If they've got representation, I'm sure it's going to get resolved pretty soon.
You know, when you stick around for the entire video, it really does help the channel. And we're so appreciative of that, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine that you would stick around and hear everything we have to say. The studio is glistening because you're listening each and every day. If you're not yet subscribed, well, you should be. And click that like button. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.